Ike Turnup, but better known to the chat as Young World. Young World, how you doing, man?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Happy to be here.
That's good. That's good. That's good. So, man, I know you watched the first two episodes, so you kind of got an idea of how the show runs. I'm gonna ask you a few questions, and we're gonna start, from the beginning of your journey. You know what I'm saying? This is your testimonial. So, if you're ready, I'm ready. You ready?
I'm I'm ready, Mark.
All right. So, man, first thing I want you to do is introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, where you checking in from, and after you do that, let us know what made you want to start a box truck business.
Okay. First, my name is Ike Turnup on all social media platforms, but I usually come in the chat as Young World. This, you know how YouTube kind of hook up to your Gmail, so that's my email. So when I started replying back to certain things, that's why y'all see Young World. Um, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, by way of Flatbush, and I moved down to Georgia in 2015. So I've been out here for about going on 8 years. October's gonna make it 8 years.
Okay. Okay. So what made you want to start a box truck business? Let's just get straight into it.
Okay. I was actually a lumper first. I was a lumper when the 18-wheel guys come to the produce warehouses. I used to break down the freight, and I kind of looked at what they were getting paid,
Mm-hmm.
and like, man, he's making way more money than me driving. So that kind of spring the idea in my head, like, well, I got to get into this trucking thing because when COVID happened, I was one of those essential workers. I didn't get unemployment like everybody else. They still
Mm-hmm.
had me in a warehouse for a big retail produce chain. And then I was actually involved in a workplace accident at another facility, though.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the facility was closer to my house. Got my foot ran over on a forklift, and then I sat out, for about a year, almost 2 years. You home. I got a messed up foot, so I'm watching YouTube, and the first thing people think is like, all right, I'm hurt now. I'm gonna run into some money soon. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, everybody has the big willie. Well, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna open a restaurant, and I'm gonna, So I had those ideas, and then going on YouTube. I think that's right when the box truck bubble was like at its biggest.
What
So
year was this?
okay, so if we're in 2023, I got hurt 2021. 2021
2021.
July 5th, I got my foot run over on a forklift, and when it got around to maybe the end of August, they were kind of like, "Yeah, you're gonna be out of commission for a while." So that
Okay.
entire time watching like not all just box truck content, YouTube content, other creators, other
Okay.
creators.
So you said July of 2021 is when you had the accident at work, right?
Yes,
And then in August is when they let you know that you were going to be out for a while.
yeah, that's when you start the physical therapy and they you
Uh-huh.
you my foot was run over, so I had a crush injury. It wasn't like a twist or anything. Uh, Honda forklift, or no, a Toyota forklift, with the propane on the back that ran over my foot, and let's just say it was finished.
Okay.
It was.
So you sitting out. I'm assuming you on workers comp, right?
Hmm?
And while you're sitting out, you're researching the box truck business, right?
Different businesses, not just box truck, but different businesses.
Okay. What are some other businesses you were researching?
YouTubers, everyone sees it. I'm a YouTuber. I grabbed the camera and now I'm a millionaire. Or I bought a charger and I'm recording car content. All I know is that at the end of this, I'm gonna get some change. So what with the change I'm gonna get, am I gonna be able to start?
So you was what? So you was waiting on a settlement.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So let's fast forward. Somewhere in your research you settled on, okay, I'm gonna go with the box truck thing, right?
Hmm?
Okay, were there any specific channels that you were watching that kind of pushed you in that direction? What ultimately pushed you in that direction?
Okay, well, I'm located in Georgia, so and just knowing anybody, it's okay if I name drop. I'm just asking you, before I.
Uh, they ain't- as long as they ain't none of my ops.
I well, I was
Go
watching
ahead, man. I'm
opposite,
joking, bro. Go ahead, man. I'm joking,
and
bro.
look,
Go
I tell
ahead,
you
man. I
this.
don't care about. I
o-
don't. Hey, bro. Hey, man.
Okay,
Go ahead, Joe.
I'm looking at box trucks, and then I saw the box truck shorty and the trucking out the box and box truck ant and box truck bros and those creators,
Okay.
those creators.
All right. So, what ultimately led you to uh decide out of all the different avenues you could, take that settlement money and turn it into a business? What ultimately made you decide to go with the box truck?
Because I had experience not necessarily with trucking, but the environment. I knew how warehouse worked from working in warehouses. I dealt with truckers pretty frequently.
Mm-hmm.
Um, BOLs and things like that was something that I was already, orders getting changed, the receivers, all these different facets of the warehouse. I already had a good idea. The only thing was missing was the in between. I shipped, I received, I selected, I was a forklift, I was a loader. So I was like, all these different skills gonna go better in this field. Now I don't know
Mm-hmm.
much about cars. Other spaces I'm less inclined.
Okay. So, at some point that year, 2021, right? You say, okay, I'm gonna go with the box truck. So I'm assuming from there you started researching more, right? Watching more box truck content.
Yeah, what it is towards the middle of 2022, actually
Okay.
maybe a whole year after the initial accident, we
Uh huh.
start getting to the pretty. I'm soon gonna get cleared to work, gonna get off workers comp, and we agreed on a settlement. And from the settlement, I heard a number,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, with this number, I can do this, along with other things. But I was like, okay, I
Okay.
can do that.
All right. So you got a number, and you agreed to that number, and eventually that number came through and turned into money in your bank account, and then you was ready to go start the business. All right. Right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Walk us through that process. Walk us through the process after the money hit, and the beginning stages you took to start your box truck business.
Okay, so you watch different channels, and I really got hooked on to like the Box Truck Shorty channel because he kept screaming the rental and the um less how could
Maintenance.
I no, no,
Oh,
no, we gonna get to that. But
okay,
the less startup costs. Now,
okay,
they kept low get in, the low get in,
okay,
the low fee, I'd say.
okay. So you set up, you structured your business. What you structure it as, a LLC or?
Oh, I went, got my LLC, got my business bank account, um, got my business address, got a brick and mortar. Just I didn't know how this was gonna go, so I just made sure I did everything
o-
as far as the beginning steps, the way you should start any other business.
Okay, so walk us through that beginning. You got your structure. Uh, you said you were watching the other content creator, so you decided to go with a rental, right? Walk us through that
Yes.
process.
Okay, so I was watching the Box Truck Shorty channel. Um, he had a course on there, like everybody else does. I didn't want to. It was the time he was offering a course and a mentorship. I was like, before I get this guy this large amount of money, I could wait. I've wasted 250 on a lot more egregious things, so I was like, I could give him 250. Send me a course. It kind of had the breakdown of how certain things should or or could go,
Hmm.
and from there, after I had the LLC, I got the EIN, I got everything set up. I start calling around the different rental companies to hear their rates because you see online. But I started getting on the phone, hey, budget, what's going on? Drove down to Penske, called up Ryder, and contacted Enterprise.
Okay, who ultimately did you go with?
I went with Enterprise. I don't know about anybody else's situation, but like I said, I'm in the Metro Atlanta area. So Penske wanted a $7,000 cashier's check, and that would be their deposit, and they would literally hold that check as their deposit.
Okay.
Then budget told me, "Oh, it's a weight on the truck. There's a whole bunch of representatives that put you on list, and the moment they'll get something, they'll hit you back." Ryder just kept somebody. You call them, they take your information, then somebody's supposed to reach out back to you, and I just never got that reach out. So Enterprise was the one that I went to, heard certain numbers, and was like, okay, I can do this.
Mhm.
It was the lowest cost to get in.
Okay. Okay, so walk us through that cost. You ended up going with Enterprise. What was did they put you in through any red tape? Did you have to go through any parameters to get in? Because a lot of people had to go through a lot of red tape during that time. What was your cost for the rental per week and your mileage? Did you have to put any money down?
Okay, yeah. What I actually had to do was, um, there a lot of people are promoting something that's called a flex lease with Enterprise. So
Hmm.
long story short, with Enterprise, if you go in there saying, "Hey, I want a box truck rental for my business,"
Hmm.
then they're going to treat you a certain way. I watched one of your videos and it said if you go in there, and this is when I first got introduced to your channel. Literally, when I was shopping for rentals, your
Hmm.
rental video came up. Okay, so I went in there and said, "Hey, I'm going to start a relationship with you guys, and I hear you guys got this flex opportunity, for businesses, and we could build a relationship." And also, Rockstar Shorty gave me somebody's phone number that worked there to get started. After I went through calling, I kind of hit him like, "So who do you use?" And he was like, "Enterprise."
Okay. All right.
Uh, sorry, I got off track. So the rental was 525 a week with tax. That comes out to 569 a week. $560 and like 9 cent or 10 cents, and I agreed to 18 cent a mile. The initial deposit was 2,500. So when I walked out of Enterprise the first day with the truck, it was um it was about 3,100 for the first initial week and the 2,500 deposit. So I swiped the card for 3,100.
Because they charge you for the first week plus a $2,500 deposit, right?
Yeah, and I
Okay.
just want I kind of sidestepped some things. I started my authority in January,
Uh-huh.
so I knew my birthday was in January, so I had a Vegas trip planned. I started my authority before I went to the Vegas trip, and I kind of timed it that as soon as I get back, my authority would be active. So
You
once my authority was active, I started hitting the ground.
so when did you rent the truck and what month did your authority go active again? In
I
2022?
Yeah, I know it's like a 21-day thing or whatever. My authority went active February 10th.
Okay, and when did you rent the truck?
The next, no, a month later.
So you
A
rented the truck
month
in
later.
March of 22?
Yeah, no, March of 23.
March of 23. Oh, that's right. That's right. It is 23. So you rent the truck. So your authority went active earlier this year and you rent the truck a month after that. So March of 23, right? So this has been about a year and a half between the injury to when you actually got started in the business, right?
Yeah, I wasn't medically cleared till about November of last year. So that's
Okay.
kind of when I finalized, got the money, blah, 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 blah.
Okay. So boom. So you actually got a good rate then. You actually got a good rate in comparison to what a lot of other people. But you came in this year, so uh, the pandemic was over at that time. The sentiment in the trucking industry was at that time was very very low. Uh, Rates were on the decline, and a lot of people were exiting the space at that time. So you actually came in at a good time as far as renting trucks, as far as the prices is concerned. All right, so now you got your truck. Who did you go through for insurance?
Okay, this is what it is. When you contact Box Truck Shorty and he sells you the course, in his course, actually towards the end, there's a lot of links to other people. So it's like when you get to the end, it's like if you want to go through insurance, go through this. So I went through Marquee Insurance, like that's a broker.
Marky? All right, all right,
Um,
all right.
but I called around too, and nobody was really saying anything besides Progressive. And the crazy thing is,
Mhm.
Marquee got me a Progressive cheaper than if I would have went to Progressive myself, which was a little, which was a little crazy to
And for the
me.
record, for everybody in the chat, this is his testimonial. So, you know, whatever names he used in the space, that I'm not gonna censor him because this is his journey. So, it's you know, if he name drops, it's okay because this is his journey. If this is part of the process, if he, went through mentorships for other creators, then it's fine because it's just his journey. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. So you ended up going with, you said progressive, right?
Yeah.
All right. What was your? You mind sharing what your rate is or was or is when you
Okay.
got
So
started?
yeah. What it was is my initial payment was 2,500 a month, but that was due to the fact of everybody was riding this Amazon train, Amazon train, the Amazon train. So with Amazon, you need a little more insurance than you would normally need to just operate OTR or other things because Amazon
Right.
wants like a 2 million aggregate instead of a
Uh
1 million. You know,
huh.
couple thousand. I think it's 750. A lot of people go with
Hmm. Okay. So what was your monthly rate again? Did you say it?
2,500.
2,500. So you paying
About
25.
20.
So you paying 2,500 a month for insurance. You paying 565 a week, 550 a week, something like that. You said. So
Yeah.
so you paying over $5,000 a month for your truck, for your rental.
Mhm. And that's
All
before we
right.
get the miles.
That's before you get to miles, right? So okay. All right. So boom, you got your truck now. You had a coaching or consultation. Oh, we lost you. We
Incoming call.
lost you.
I had an incoming
So
call. We good? Good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, so boom, you got your truck. Everything is a go. Walk us through your first week.
Oh, yeah. This is where it gets kind of murky because so this is what happens.
Hold on a second.
Everyone
Can
is
you can
riding
you
the.
can you can you hear me? Because it seemed like you got a delay when you got that call. You might want to
You want me to hang up back in?
nah. Can't you put your phone on like what is that called? Where you just turn the
Do
calls
not
off
dis-
or something? Yeah,
Do not
some
disturb.
airplane mode or something.
I think if airplane mode is gonna cut out all
All right,
service,
yeah, put it on do
but
not
give me one
disturb then. Yeah.
second.
All right, so boom. So how'd your first week go after you got the truck? Walk us through your first week.
Okay, so look, I'm super excited. I got the truck. Actually, before the truck, I'm applying for Amazon. I'm like, my authority's active. I applied for Amazon, and I literally missed getting into Amazon by 1 day. I was one of those guys that got hit by that. You got to be 180 days. So that just turned my whole plan on its head.
Hmm.
So okay, so now I got the truck and hit literally. That's when you big. I don't think it was you, but I think Big Vic was one of the first guys to drop that. Oh, it's 180 days, and then everybody was stuck on the same Amazon screen. Um,
This was like in September though.
No, it's February, man. February.
Was it
February.
February?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you're right, because it's only August. I'm tweaking. Oh no, I gotta hit
Yeah.
the button. I gotta hit the button on myself. Where my button at? Yeah, I'm tweaking. All right, I'm saying it's
Yeah.
September. We ain't even in
You
September
tweaking.
yet. It's still
Yeah.
August. All right, so yeah, you said February. All right, so you missed it. You said by a day, right?
Yeah. So, everyone's in his group going crazy, like, yo, 180 days. He's not saying nothing. I think he came out with a dispatcher course or something like that. So now I'm a little panicking. I swiped. But so now I literally went YouTube crazy. And when I picked up the truck, super digging into your channel, and Kirk, and then I just downloaded DAT, um, and I booked the load. I called up TQL, and I booked the load.
All right, walk us through that first load. Did what was it? Did you take a win on it? Did you take a L on it? Walk
I
us through it.
guarantee, I guarantee I took an L because, well, not guaranteed, but I was trying to do the whole $2 a mile thing. I was scared, when I think people don't admit this, but when you're first booking loads, you're nervous because kind of like a phone interview. Like they're asking you for info. It feels like they know everything against you and you know nothing about them. So it was a bunch of eh, air conditioners picking up probably 20 miles from my house going to South Carolina, paying 500, and I think I was getting like $1.79 a mile. So I was like, all right, good place to start. It's not $2 like the myth everybody says. So I was like, yeah, this is good then, I guess.
So you went from Georgia to South Carolina for $1.79 a mile,
Hmm.
and you said it paid what, five something? You said.
Yeah, 500 flat. No, 600 flat. Sorry, 600 flat.
Had you had done your cost per mile or anything yet, or no?
Man, nothing. All I knew was a pallet jack and get to the shipper.
So what was your
Just be
cost per? What were you averaging? So you didn't know what you were spending per week.
man, nope.
Okay. So you went to South Carolina for the five whatever. You got there, you dropped that off. Then what?
And then I'm sitting here like, wow, I'm really in South Carolina. I really dropped. It was one of those like the load was supposed to drop off at like 9 a.m. And I was parked outside of the facility, and some guy rolled up at like 6:30. Like, yeah, I'll unload you right now, and you're good. So I immediately went back in the truck and started getting back on DAT, trying to get back to Georgia for some odd reason.
Did you find something?
Yeah, actually, I did. I found another load going back to Georgia for about 450, picking up like 40 miles from where I was at and dropping off maybe 60 miles from my house.
Okay, so you made roughly $1,000 round trip from
Yeah,
Georgia, South Carolina, and back. And you don't know if
like
you don't know if you won or lost on that trip.
I I believe, and like I said,
It's all good. So boom, you ran that round trip from Georgia, South Carolina, and back, roughly about $1,000. You don't know if you made or lost money because you at that point you didn't know your cost per mile.
yeah, I mean, being perfectly honest, what it was is that I only filled up once to go there. So I was like, okay, and this is when diesel, not sure the exact price, but I always was hitting those cheap gas. Like I hit cheap gas station regularly. I'll drive past five of them to get to the cheap one. But I was like, yeah, I'm like, okay. When I got home, I had $860 something in my pocket.
No,
So
you
I was
didn't.
like, huh?
No, you didn't.
You said no, I didn't.
It was in your pocket, but it wasn't yours.
No, of course, of course, of course.
Because you said diesel, but you still got to account for all your other expenses. You
Of,
renting a truck, you got insurance. You see what I'm saying?
no, of course. I was just putting you into how I was feeling at the time. Like
Okay,
these are things that I learned later. You know,
okay.
not
I
much later, but later.
okay. So you ran that first job, round trip about $1,000. And then what happened? Because then I'm gonna fast forward. So that's your first trip, and then when you got back, I'm assuming you jumped on the DAT load board, right?
Yeah, I mean, from that I was hooked. It was Mark Demena videos, Kirk videos, DAT load board, whatever I'm doing in my personal life, which was barely anything at all, and then back at a dock.
What month is this? Is this about March? Is this April? Where are we
This
at?
is March. This is March.
March of 2023. All right, so now you're running the DAT load board, and I guess you're steady watching content, uh, because your original plan to run Amazon, uh, uh, you ran into a roadblock because right before you started to run that, that's when they came up with that 180-day rule, right?
Yeah,
You missed it by a day, you said, right? So
yeah.
boom, now you're running. All right, so let me ask you this: during your tenure in the space, what challenges have you faced so far running your box truck business, and how have you overcome those challenges?
Uh, Being perfectly honest, I think any and everything but a flat tire has happened to me, from a overheated engine to I done left my pallet jack on the dock and just went to the drop off and no pallet jack. Like, um, you know, underestimating how much the fuel will cost to get somewhere, you know, not accounting for the factoring, you know, getting loads out of desperation. Like, it's getting to noon and you're still looking for that right load when you're just like, then you get into this mode like, well, I got to get something, and how I overcame those things is really being honest. Your channel, Kirk channel, meeting other truckers, literally meeting other box truck drivers and just asking them like, hey, how you do this and how you do that, and this ELD, and man, I know I stopped but I was only parking, and how I got hours of like violation, how I was showing hours of service violation, like, so just literally learning from other people in the space and thinking on my feet, really and truly.
All right, so basically, you were learning on the fly,
Yeah.
okay? But I know you said you had a mentorship, right? Prior
No, I
to
just I just bought the course. I just bought
oh,
like
okay,
a PDF. I bought a PDF.
okay, all right. So at what point did you start running more efficiently? When did you learn your cost per mile? When did you realize that I'm losing money or I'm making money? Because basically what you're telling me right now is you were just running. You didn't know if you were making money. You didn't know if you were losing money. You said you went, you came back, and you knew you had $860 in your pocket, but you didn't know how much of that 860, if any, was profit or not. So at what point uh, did you start to really take the business serious and educate yourself on cost per mile and things of that nature?
Your channel and Kirk's channel.
Okay,
Between your
when was
channel and
this?
Kirk's channel. Huh?
When was this? What month was this?
This is March still.
Oh, this is
This
still
is
March.
yeah, this is
Okay.
this is literally like stumbling. Like, I think I picked up my truck on a Monday, and I done ran maybe 8 or 9 loads by that Friday back in Georgia. And I'm like, man, now I gotta pull this thing together. And literally that whole weekend, I probably was getting my girl tired of you on the big screen in the living room. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, he live. Shh. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
and I'm commenting on my phone, but I'm watching on the screen.
Okay. All right. So you had a consultation with Kirk, right?
Yeah.
And then he educated you to cost per mile, or is that how you learned it, or
Yeah. I mean, it was in conjunction with watching YouTube videos. And I forgot whose channel it was. I'm mad I can't
you don't got a
um
name drop? Just you
yeah,
eventually learned
yeah,
it, right?
yeah.
Okay. So when you learned your cost per mile and you learned how to run your business more efficiently, how did you see your business turn around from how you were operating it prior?
It was like that. It was like night and day. It was like
Okay.
night and day. When Kurt put me on, when I really start seeing those partials sitting, and I'm seeing 8 feet and 8 feet, and all right, if I grab those 2 8 feet, That puts me at 16, and I could grab this 10-foot partial. It's to the point I used to have a tape measure on my waist, and like I said, it was like night and day. It
Okay.
was like night and day.
How long would you be out?
I would be out Monday through Friday, just depending on the route and where I'm picking up and where the load might be going. So
Did you run it?
I was
Go
doing
ahead.
a lot of north to south. So I was leaving Georgia, coming up maybe a Tennessee, maybe a Indiana, Ohio, then Michigan, Chicago. Might hang out there for a day or two. Like if it's Monday, I'd get a load going up to maybe a Chicago or Ohio or something like that. Then I might get something coming back down, and depending on where I get it coming back down to, I might be back in my house the following morning or evening, you know, or it might just, because a lot of people are saying there wasn't a lot of freight in Florida, but I just started calling around, and man, I was calling brokers that I see on online, not even on the load board. Like, okay, they're a brokerage, let me just call up there, like I I was doing it all. So,
Okay. All right. So you was moving and you was shaking. It sounded like you said you was coming home every weekend, right?
not every weekend. I'd be home at
Okay.
least out of a 14-day week. I'd be home at least 2-3 days.
Okay.
So I
Were you
might go a
sleeping
whole
in?
week not go home, but I might
Were
be
you
home for 3-4 days.
okay? Were you sleeping in your truck or you getting
I was
hotel
sleeping in
rooms
the
every night?
truck. I was sleeping in
Okay.
the truck. I would only get hotels if depending on the load and the drop off. Like sometimes I would argue that to the broker. Like if it was like a late drop off or something, I'd try, or if it's a tow new or something. Cause I didn't I remember one time I was speaking to you. I was supposed to pick up in Chicago. The
Mhm.
freight didn't fit. They had to restage the freight, and the
Mhm.
tow new, paid for a hotel room and then some. So I got a
Mhm.
hotel that night and just picked up the freight the next morning, but nothing out of my pocket. I would
Okay.
always work the hotel into the rate or whatever I was being paid.
Hold on. Hold on. Hey y'all, hit that like button. We got 67 in here. What? 38 likes. Come on, y'all, hit that like button, please. Hit that like button. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead. If you came in, make sure y'all hit that like button. All right. So now you're running efficiently now, right? You know your cost per mile. I'm assuming you're profiting
Yes,
at this
yes,
point. All right. On a best week, what do you remember your best week?
yeah.
What was your best week?
9,600.
Okay, when was this?
Sometime in June,
So
June,
like so two
end of May, early June,
so like 2 months
first week of
ago.
June. Huh?
So 2 months 2 months ago.
Yeah,
Okay. So 9,600, and how much of that uh was profit?
47.
47. Do you remember that week?
Yeah, it was a rough week. It was a
Okay. It
rough week.
was a rough week, but it paid exceptionally well.
Yeah,
Okay, can you walk us through that week? Because 9,600 in a box truck just 2 months ago is exceptionally good because
yeah.
everybody's complaining. So I'm sure everybody would like to know what in the hell did you do for damn near $10,000 in a week in a box truck just 2 months ago? Can
I
you walk
got
us
the
through that?
right. I tell you the truth, it was just literally the right load. I did my first run from Florida to California, um, for 4,700. Um, from Florida to California, 4,700. It was two stops. Um, and being perfectly honest, I dropped off and immediately picked up at a facility around the corner. So, uh, all right, just so everyone's clear, I had a load from Largo, Florida to California. I dropped that load off.
So it was one pick,
Uh,
one drop.
no, two pick, two drop. The second drop was in Dallas or something like that.
All right. So you had a load you picked up in Largo, and then you picked up a second load in Dallas, and they both
Hmm.
went to California,
Yeah,
right? And that one-way trip with those two parcels, what did that trip pay?
that paid 47.
That paid 47. All right, and then what did you get coming back?
I got a load going from California to Wyoming, Wyoming,
Mm-hmm.
borderline Wyoming, South Dakota.
Okay,
And yes,
and
I was burning the oil using every one of those, every minute of those hours.
so that California to Wyoming, that was just one pick, one drop,
Hmm.
and you dropped that in Wyoming. Then what?
Uh, it's a crazy story about that. I didn't actually drop it. They actually had somebody else drop it for me.
So what happened? Walk us
It
through it,
was
man.
a
It's your
military.
testimonial.
It was a military load. It was all right. I I have nothing to hide. I'm a convicted felon. So one time when I was first starting, I grabbed the load and didn't see that you can't drop to military bases and stuff like that. But I actually caught this Cali broker from a particular freight company, and they gave me a load that I knew was a military load, but on the BOL didn't say felons only. So I picked up the load anyway. And then when he found out a felon had to do it, um, they couldn't get no one else. They couldn't get no one else to drop it. So I got all the way to North Dakota, and then they had to have someone meet me at my truck and drive it to the facility, and I got to stay in a hotel at night.
Okay. So how did that go?
I mean, it
Because
was
you
6K.
they
It was
they
6K.
paid you, right?
6K. Yep.
So 6K to go from California to Wyoming.
Yeah, it was a military load from someplace out there that sells drones. I never seen a load like that. I never seen a rate like that. And it was one of those, it said 0 minutes on the load board.
And you got it off the DAT, right?
Yup.
All right. So after that load got dropped in Wyoming, now you out in Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like what you got paid for that, plus what you got paid to go to California, it sounds like you dead headed back home.
Nope.
Well, you
I
said
got
that
one
paid
of
you.
those.
You said that paid you 6, and then you
Mm-hmm.
said the other one paid you 47.
Mm-hmm.
So that's putting you at 10,700. So if you took
Yeah,
a
but
load
with
from Wyoming back somewhere else, then we way over 9,600.
yeah, but that's more than a week though. By the time
No,
I'm
so I'm talking about this that 1 week. I just want to know that 1 week.
okay. Yeah, I drove from um like the tip of North. What's that state next to North? Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota. What's that?
South Dakota,
No, the South Dakota, and then was it Minnesota, Wisconsin?
Minnesota. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All
And
right.
then
So go ahead.
I picked up a load from there to Chicago, then a load from Chicago back to Georgia. But that's when we're getting out of the week.
Okay. So, but that one load that 9,600 week, because I just want everybody in the audience is they trying to just make 5,000 a week. So I'm just you went from California to I mean from Florida to California for 4,700. Then you caught a load from California to Wyoming for 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said between those two loads, that was 1 week, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long did it
Uh,
take you to get? Go ahead.
all right, from Florida to Texas, it took me like 2.5 days because of when I picked up.
Okay. And then
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you guys right now. I was pushing that that clock and working it every way I could. If that makes
so
sense.
so the trip and completion from Florida to California, including the stop, how many days did that take?
Gonna put me right around. I'd say 8 days, 8 9 days.
Took you 8 9 days to get from Florida to California.
Yeah.
Okay. And
No, no,
then
no. In total, in total.
that, but I'm breaking it down for the audience because I want them.
Yeah.
It's a lot of new people. So from Florida to California, how long did it take you? Is what I'm asking you, including your stop in Texas.
5 days. 5
Okay.
days.
And then you got there, you dropped the load, You picked another load up. You went to Wisconsin. All right. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said within those 3 loads, you said you netted 4,700.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was a week. Okay. And then from there, you worked your way up north, came back down, and then headed back home, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So on average, through your whole since you've been in the trucking space, on average, what do you average a week gross?
I'd say on a horrible week, 4K at minimum. And on a really good week, talking about no BS, like 557. That's not net though, that's gross.
Okay. All right. So you're running. So this is June, and I guess we can fast forward a little bit, because you ran into some issues.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Why don't you talk about the issues you ran into?
Uh okay. Well, I never really had any issues with DOT. I was I got 3 inspections, passed them all. And they were all level threes. I got 3 level 3 inspections. I don't know why they kept doing that. But at 3 level, the only problem I had was with enterprise and the maintenance. The phantom maintenance nobody believes is real.
All right. So walk us through it. Talk to us through the whole process of when you had your issue up until where you're at right now.
Okay, I'm gonna try to keep it short and concise. I was in an enterprise truck, and one day it just broke down. I was doing like a local load in Georgia. It said pull over, D-rate something. They called the guy out from Enterprise Care, and then somebody called me the following morning like, "You used our emergency service?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was broke down, and you were closed. It's after 5. I called you guys first, and there's a number on the clipboard to call after hours." So it's like, oh, those. Don't every time you call Enterprise 24-hour service, that's the service that's provided after hours. That is what they would like to call a claim because they don't know why you broke down. That's kind of how they put it. Like, we don't know why you broke down, and none of our somebody that represents us is there to verify what you're saying. So yeah, we're gonna pay it, but it counts as like a claim towards you, like literally like an insurance claim, but more with them. So I'm like, okay, cool. It breaks down again the following morning after the guy does a he does something with the computer and gets me back running and then tells me to take it to Southern Tire in the morning. Take it to Southern Tire, breaks down before I get there. They call like a roadside. It goes to Southern Tire and they swap me out on a truck. I get it. I cross because I had a load at the time, so I crossed docked the load like from one truck to another. Not cross dock, but got it from one truck to another, took that
Mhm.
load down to Florida, and the truck broke down in Florida. Stuck out in Florida for a week, and this
That's
is
that's that's the truck they switch you into. So you
this
the
yeah
man
that they switched me
okay.
into.
Okay, so the original truck that you had for 6 or whatever months at that point broke down. They switched you out. You went to Florida, and the truck that they swapped you into that broke down in Florida.
The very next day.
Okay.
So I was stuck in Florida with the enterprise reps scrambling and, oh, we're going to try to get you in another truck. I'm going to enterprises myself and visually looking at trucks and like in an Uber, like, hey, there's a truck here, because I'm trying to at least just get a car at this point. I'm stuck. I don't have the truck. They towed the truck away. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to try to get you another truck. Long story short, I had to literally give up the load that I had coming coming out of Florida. I was able to successfully drop the load, but then the truck broke down when I'm getting out of Florida. I had to give up the load that I had, and they put me in one of those little service vans to drive back to Georgia and get another um, truck from the Enterprise in Georgia. What people believe is Enterprise is linked. Yes, they all are linked. An Enterprise rep can call another rep, but they all are human and got goals in mind. So they don't want to give up a truck to another guy that they're never going to see. Are we all are we on? Are you following me so far, Mark?
that has that's part of it, but there's more to it. But I get where you're
Yeah,
going with it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I get where you're going with it. But yeah,
yeah. So nobody down there wanted to give me a truck, but they gave me like a little work van to get back to Georgia. I get to Georgia, they give me the third truck, which is a Hino. So I'm happy. I had two internationals. Now I got this Hino. I'm running again. So then out of nowhere, I get a email from something called their damage recovery unit. It's called Enterprise DRU. So they told me, they said, hey, there's like damage or something to the truck. Now what I do is when I pick up a truck or any other vehicle I'm in, I take pictures. I'm snapping. I got a whole bunch of pictures. I'm snapping. So they send me pictures of a truck that wasn't even the truck that I was in. I said, this is another model truck because I had issues with like the racks in the truck that hold the the load locks.
the E
So I
tracks.
had, yeah, the E tracks. I had issues with the E tracks. So I have pictures of the inside of the truck. I said that's not the same inside of the truck I was driving.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, hey, well, there's a claim, you gotta fight it, this, that, and the third. I'm like, okay, cool, fight it. And I sent the DR unit the pictures. So she's like, all right, these look different. I'm gonna put in a dispute for you. So magically, out of nowhere, someone tells me, hey, at Enterprise, they call me like, hey, what's your mileage? Because Enterprise checks on you constantly with the mileage. The same way a
Right.
broker will call you and say, where are you at with the load? They call randomly and say what mileage you're on. So they was like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you're kind of getting high in the mileage. You know, this is repeating. This is more than we thought you would have. Go ahead.
Hold on, kind of high in the mileage. Did you have a mileage cap on your rental agreement?
No,
Okay.
I
All
had
right.
an expected. I had an expect. It's called like an expect, and I was able to get that flex account that everybody tries to get. That to get to the 500 and something. It doesn't give you a cap, but it's a suggested mileage thing, and I think that
Okay.
was at like 4,000 miles or 5,000 miles.
For
But I was
how
going.
long?
I was I,
For what term?
for 12 months. For 12 months.
So 5,000 miles for 12 months.
No, no, no. A week. Per week, per rental week period, per for every $560 something dollars. That's what they were doing.
Okay. So they called you. They asked you for the mileage, and then what happened?
So then they're like, hey, well, Enterprise tells you when you got to get maintenance. So they're like, hey, you
Mm-hmm.
got to bring the truck in for maintenance.
Right.
So I was like, cool. I got to bring the truck in for maintenance. Whatever. That I was running so much that my truck will be in for maintenance at least once every 3 weeks. Once every, you know, 3 weeks, 3 weeks a month maybe. So I've done this before, so I'm like, cool. I dropped the truck off, no load in it, got all my cooler and certain things out, and go home. All right, y'all. They usually take a day. A day turns into a week. I'm calling every day, like, what's going on? Oh, we're waiting on a part or a filter. Then somebody from Enterprise says, Southern Tire is saying somebody cut a line from your headlight or something like that, like a headlight, whatever. Now, what I
Mm-hmm.
used to do at Enterprise is I used to overpay. Like if they for every 560 I gave them, I'd say yo swipe 1,000 to cover the mileage or cover this because I was running that profit. I had a surplus. You know, I had not say like extra money, but I had more than what was needed to run. So I was like, I don't want to be wherever I'm at. You never know where you're at or what could happen. So I
Wait, wait,
always
wait.
kept.
You
Well,
told them to swipe more than what you owed them,
yes,
and they did it.
yeah,
Why would you tell them that?
because I never wanted it to get to a Tuesday. My pay days was Tuesdays. So I never wanted to get to Tuesday and God forbid something happened and I didn't have the money for the following week.
But the reason why I'm asking you that is because how would you be sure they would account for the overage, the excessive amount of money that you're giving them? How would you be sure that they would account for that correctly?
Every at the end of every pay thing, every at the end of every 25 days, Enterprise sends you a ticket and you could see the balances, the ins and outs. So I would always have a balance at the end. There would always be money at the bottom of mine. It wouldn't be anything due.
Okay.
You would literally see it. If I could share a screen with you, I could show you.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, this is like, the stories I hear from people renting trucks now, since the I haven't rented a truck since 2019. So it's totally different now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So you telling me this is like the old way of renting a truck was just going there and paying. If it was $550 a week,
Of
they
course.
swipe you for $550 a week, they give you 1,000 free miles, and that was it. There wasn't no
Mhm.
down payment, none of that,
Mhm.
all this stuff you talking about, caps and all this stuff. So
Yeah.
okay, all right. So you told her to, or told them to take more money than what you owed, and they did it. They obliged. All right. They said that you or somebody cut the line to the headlight or something, right? And then what happened from there?
Okay. So I said, so how much is it? It was like it's 469. I said, y'all have at least $560 for me. I said, take it from that, and we're still good. I said, I have that on my balance, so take it from that. They're like, yeah, we can see you have it on your balance. Cool. So then I keep calling Southern Tire, like, okay, is it ready? Is it ready? Is it ready? And they say, yeah, we just got the part. We're putting it in. We'll call you tomorrow to come pick it up. I call them tomorrow when I get up, when they open at 7, and they said that somebody from Enterprise came and picked up the truck.
Hit that like button, y'all. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Okay, somebody from Enterprise came to pick up the truck, so I'm assuming then you got on the phone with Enterprise, right?
Yeah, I'm calling like, hey, what's going on? With the truck and this, that, and the third. And somebody tells me in a nice voice, oh, with the breakdown claims and with this new thing with the headlight and all of that, it's kind of reaching a point, with your mileage and everything it's costing us more than you're giving us. That was the gist of what they said. It's costing us more to keep you running than what you're giving us.
Okay. And this is very interesting because I've talked about this before. People want to argue me down. I hate that this happened to you, but I have to use this as a teaching point because
Go ahead.
people want to argue me down about business. And I've been telling people this since I did this video last year about box truck rentals, about the cost of maintenance being baked into the cost of your rental. Because people say, oh, you don't pay for maintenance when you rent a truck, and I say, yes, you do. It's baked into the cost. It's baked into the cost. But I'm gonna let you continue to tell your story, and then I'll add in, because I'm gonna have to use this. I'm gonna have to use your story as a teaching point, because you're the proof of what I've been trying to tell people for the past 15, 16 months. But go ahead.
Okay, yeah, and just touching briefly on what you just said. Yeah, there is in those offices they have a certain cost that they're willing to deal with you. So with the two trucks breaking down and then a third truck issue happening, they kind of counted like, hey, this is like on you. So I'm like, that's I'm just looking at how they handled the situation, because you knew about this before the light got fixed. Anything you could have told me, I could have came and got my load locks, my pallet jack, any of that. They literally came and swooped up the truck and said that we're holding your deposit pending what they called an investigation.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second, because we got 82 people in here. We got 59 likes, man. I need some more
Yeah,
likes.
hit the
I need
like
some more
button.
likes. Hit the like button.
Hit the
This
like button.
this man is
And I'm
here.
answering every question. So
He's going to answer questions. He's taking time to tell his story, and his story ends with something that I think a lot of people need to know. I've been preaching this for since I've been on YouTube, but people want to, and I'm not saying everybody, but there are people that I've had to go to war with, about rental costs and rental maintenance, and people in my comments, because there's people that are bigger than me, have a larger platform than me, that tell people that you don't pay for the maintenance. But if you know business like I know business, an asset that's being rented out. It's just like an apartment. If you rent an apartment and you have a tenant and they're paying their rent, when something happens or something breaks and you have to come in there and fix the toilet, essentially you're paying for the toilet, but the money that you've been collecting for rent over a period of time is really fixing that toilet. All of that's baked into the cost of rent. So
Of course.
hold on, hit that like button, hit that like button. Let's get those likes up. Let's get them likes up. I know
Yeah.
everybody's enjoying the testimonial, but take time to get the likes up. It don't cost you nothing. I really appreciate it. It takes time to do this. I have to coordinate this. I spend money to present this stuff. So all I'm not asking nobody for nothing. I never ask for super chats. I don't ask for nothing. All I'm asking you to do is hit the like button. That's it.
Hit that like button, y'all.
Hit the like button. All right. So, all right. I'm sorry, but I had to stop you. All
Go
right.
ahead.
So boom. She calls you. She tells you basically, even though you're paying them, you now have become uh uh um it's costing them more to rent to you than what they're making. It's business, right?
Yeah.
That's basically what she told you. Okay, go ahead.
Mhm. Okay. So I start digging in, I start looking up, I'm calling corporate, and everyone at the branch keeps telling me that, hey, you're costing. So I'm like, okay, our business relationship, I guess, is coming to an end because they said pending investigation, but a guy literally at the branch said, man, I don't think we're gonna, do business with you. So you just gotta wait for your deposit and maybe go elsewhere. So I'm cool. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get my 2,500 back and I can explore another route. They were literally just holding my money. Every day they said, oh, we're going to refund you your deposit. We're going to refund you the deposit. So I actually had to get in contact with somebody in Enterprise Corporate. I don't know if anybody knows, but if you live in Georgia, you got some guy called Clark Howard. I think every city has like a Help Me Howard or somebody that's on the news that try to help the little guy. I contacted them. They gave me somebody at Enterprise Corporate and I
Mm-hmm.
reached out to them. They sat there and told me, well, we're holding your $2,500 because a previous employee said that you damaged our truck up to $4,800. I said, well, I'm on the phone with you now. I have pictures of every truck I rented, the inside, the outside, and I never damaged any trucks. Even when they broke down, I took pictures. I actually have videos. Like I'm kind of like Instagram heavy. So if I break down, people on my Instagram see I broke down. They, hey, what's going on? So I have all of those videos, and I document myself. I want to see who's coming to work on the truck. I want to see what they're doing. I'm trying to learn, So I sent her the pictures. They didn't match up with the trucks in question. And then they finally released my money. Get
Okay.
this, 45 days later after they got the truck back.
Yeah. Okay. So they gave you a full 2,500 back.
Yeah, but it was set up in a way that if I didn't fight for it or explore other channels, they would have just kept my money. If you want
Okay.
me to be completely honest, what people fail to realize is this: yes, enterprise is a business, but the people work there are humans. So this particular young lady that no longer works with them tried to cover her tracks with a claim from somebody else she probably didn't document or she probably knew and tried to put it on my account. So in short, they would have never even took me out the truck if it wasn't for this false claim. But it's already over. Long story short, the branch that I rented from in question said that the maintenance and all of this is the cause, when the real cause was somebody had a fraudulent claim on a truck I was no longer in or never drove. I have pictures. The claim in question, right? The claim in question that they said where I damaged the truck, I was still in possession of the truck on the side of the highway, broke down. The day they said I brought the truck back and it was damaged, I
Mm-hmm.
was stuck on the side of the roadway getting
Okay.
an emergency,
All right.
whatever.
Let me let me let me put this into context for people in the chat because I see people saying stuff about insurance and things like that, or what he's saying. Let me put this in context for you. All right, we're finna take a business lesson 101. I've done a few videos where I say, you know what? When you rent a truck, you're paying for maintenance. You're paying for maintenance. No, you're not paying for it up front. It's not verbatim. Okay, the truck is gonna be 750 a week, and out of that 750, 100 of that 750 is a maintenance fee. No, it's not. It doesn't work like that. It's a business. All right. It's a rental truck business. All right. That truck pays for itself in every single facet. All right. You're talking about $1 billion. These rental truck companies are $1 billion companies. All right. You work with your CPM, your cost per mile. Their analytics are,
Off
if
the
you can
chain.
dig into $1 billion business analytics, you would be confused. All right. They have analytics. They can estimate. They have estimations of, okay, a typical average rental goes this many miles a year. An average renter drives this many miles a year. The truck is going to need to have this many PMs a year. Like, their analytics and their data is like he said, off the chain. So they have the data. All right. And the maintenance is baked into the cost of what you're renting. They don't pay for the truck at all. It's an asset. It's just like if you rented a truck. If you were a smart business person, you would bake that cost into the cost of the rental. It's just like you being a landlord and you're renting an apartment. Eventually, a toilet is going to break, something is going to break. But if you're a smart businessman, you're charging enough rent that you're making profit and you have a maintenance fund set aside. The renter is paying the cost of whatever breaks in that apartment. It's just like when I coach people and they say, "Hey, Mark, I want to start moving. I want to get on Craigslist. Or I want to get on Thumbtack," and I give them a marketing strategy. I say, "All right, charge $100 an hour. All right, with a 2 hour minimum and $100 truck fee. Keep your $100 truck fee local. If you go outside of local city limits, then you can increase your truck fee. All right, and give them free materials, shrink wrap, and tape. That's included in your truck fee. Those materials, they're paying for it, but it's baked into the cost of the truck fee. You're not telling them, all right, yo, you're gonna pay $100 truck fee, and out of that $100, a case of shrink wrap costs about $70, $80, so that's $20 a roll. So, and then an average one bedroom, we might use 5 or 6 rolls of tape. Average one bedroom, we could use anywhere from a half to a full roll of shrink wrap. So $30 of that $100 is going for materials. No, it's baked into the cost of the truck fee so that you're not giving the customer a bunch of fees. It's all wrapped up in a nice bundle package for marketing purposes so that the customer books with you. Same thing
Mm-hmm.
here. It's baked
Yeah.
into the cost, right? So what happens is if they have a customer who is having an alarming amount of breakdowns, let's say, more than what the average rental customer would have, and once they start spending more money on the truck, on the maintenance for said particular customer than what they're making on the rental, that customer becomes a liability. All right, they're in the business to make money, not spend it. So even though you may think that you don't pay for maintenance, you're paying for maintenance. It's
You
baked in.
definitely.
And the
I,
moment, hold on, and the moment you run into an issue with that rental truck, where it's just like an insurance company. If you have a big enough claim, they're gonna drop you. Why? Because now you become a liability to them. They're in the business to make money. They want to make money off you month after 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 month. They don't want you to get any claims. But God forbid you have that one big claim. Unless you've been paying them for 20 years without a claim, 9 times out of 10, they're going to drop you. Why? Because
mm-hmm.
now you're costing them more money than they're making off of you. And if they allow that to happen with every single customer, they'll be out of business. Same thing with the rental. So, I've explained this over and over and over and over. But I guess, when there's people out there that tell you one thing and they have a bigger platform than you, people kind of go with the bigger picture. But I've sat down and broke this down to people, and people just look at me like a deer in headlights when I tell them this shit. Like, go out and
Mm-hmm.
rent an apartment, become a landlord, go buy a 4-unit building, and you got 4 tenants in that building, and every single week something breaks. The tenant breaks something, and then it ends up costing you more money than what you're making off rent. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go put their ass out. And unfortunately, this is what's going on. But I had to stop this because I be having to go to war with people. You know what I'm saying? And
No,
you
I
know,
know.
it's unfortunate that this happened to you, but I had to. I want to use your situation as a live example of what I've been saying for so long does actually happen, and here's proof that it will happen. The moment you cost the rental company more money than what they're making, yeah, they're gonna take you out because you're
Yeah,
paying for the maintenance. You're paying for
yeah.
it.
And then another thing I just want to speak on adding to that. These rental branches are just like any other business. There's regular people in there, like me and you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's people in there doing things they're not. If at your job there's people doing things they're not supposed to. You think just because it's enterprise and it's a car rental company that they're doing it? It's just different. It's trucks.
Mm-hmm.
So a young lady literally put a claim of me damaging a truck. I don't know why she did it for the other person or whoever the person was. You get what I'm saying? That must have damaged that truck. But she put
Mm-hmm.
it on me and I had proof. Luckily, I had proof. Else I wouldn't be getting my deposit back.
You know what it sounds like in your situation? I'm gonna be honest with you, because they pretty much told you, but it probably wasn't written into your agreement. You was running up a lot of miles,
No, of course. Of course.
so they wanted you out of the truck anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So they just used that excuse because even with the miles and the shortage of trucks right now, for various reasons since the pandemic, they have to preserve the trucks a little bit longer than what they had to prior to the pandemic.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit more, cautious of how they allow renters to run their trucks now. You see what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, yeah, but the reason I want to throw in this point is like I just don't want you to miss this part of it. I was told by a branch, right, that my costs and mileage and breakdowns were the reason I'm being taken out of a truck with this light bulb claim. Like the I guess the light bulb, a headlight claim, was the cherry on top, right? But when we got down to it, and I spoke to somebody from Enterprise Corporate, they said no.
mm-hmm,
Somebody said that you damaged two vehicles that were returned, and this is a new damage to to a third.
mm-hmm,
When it was proven that none of that took place, I would have been fine with
mm-hmm,
mileage, all of that. I didn't do no ridiculous amount of miles between periods because I was even watching for that. At a certain point, I started increasing my my money per mile, so I was driving less. It came to a point where I would drive 4 days a week, because of how I was
mm-hmm,
running, or I
mm-hmm,
would I would literally be home every weekend and make more money than the guy that stayed out 7 days.
mm-hmm.
I just want people to get, like, the part you're saying is the biggest part. But I just want people to understand when you walk, you see these people selling, well, I got a link on Enterprise the next time. They're paying that person. So when average Joe like you walks in, they're gonna tell you there's no trucks. I've sat in different states at enterprises. Those enterprises in those markets no one likes to go to, there's parking lots of trucks. I've literally seen it myself. When I was in North Dakota, they had a sign out there, 300 a week. They couldn't get nobody to get no truck because they not. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I just want them to like, in the very same token, your point is probably 99% of it, but also leave that 1% that these people are in a business.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? These people are in a business, so they're operating a certain way. They don't have your best interests at heart. I just want you guys to know that when you walk in there, when you put your money down and they're telling you good luck, they really want you to just, they really want to get the same thing when you rent a car. There's certain agents that's gonna see if you even lowered the air pressure in the tire. You get what I'm saying? So along with even just getting the rental itself, these people want you to jump through hurdles, and then even when you're in the truck, they're look the money for them is the flip. The guy that gets in, the high rate, get him in, drive for a certain period amount of time, get him out, clean up the truck, reset it, get it for the next guy. That's what I'm trying to say. Do you think Enterprise wants you to keep their truck 10 years and they never get it back and they just pay maintenance? And you got
If
a
if
certain mileage?
if you're renting it, you're not costing them anything, and they're getting a clean rental off you. Yeah, yeah, I think they'll let you keep it for 10
No,
years.
no,
But
no.
the
I'm
mo
not saying. I'm
Go
not
ahead.
saying that, but to maximize profit, I got in with 560. I called that same branch and they were talking almost $900 a week and 27 cents a mile or 30 cents a mile. And people are agreeing to that. So it's like if you have a tenant, it's just like what they do with gentrification. And I ain't even going to I'm not even going to get into that. But it's like they got you, yeah, you've been living in this apartment for 10 years with your mom. Your mom pays a certain thing. But if they can get you guys out and get the guy that's just gonna agree to whatever they want to do, that's what they'd rather, because that's a profit margin for them. Especially with them having all of the trucks rented out. Like if a branch has everything rented out, they want to get the guys that's paying the lowest to come back. They want to get those guys that's like, oh yeah, 1,200 a week, sure, because they're gonna make double the money. They tried to get me on it. I literally called the same branch and said how much, and was told almost $900 and this much cents a mile, and came back with a different verbiage and got less. So I'm just using, a little of my sense and think like, all right, well, anybody that's paying low, that's the first targets to try to get back. Not the high, if you got an apartment building, people are paying different rates based on how long they've been there or how long their connections are there. And the only point I'm trying to make is if you think you coming on the cheap end, you're the first one they're gonna try to get out the way. If they need to get that Hino back from you and you're paying a low rate and they got Joe over here that's ready to pay 1,200, you better be on your P's and Q's. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. So they basically told you that you're costing them more money than they're making, and they said,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, we can no longer do business with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And from there, what do you do?
I'm not gonna lie, you get it's like DEFCON 5, because don't get me wrong, I had some money, I was able to pay my bills, but I'm sitting here like, man, my business is really grind to a halt. I'm not gonna put no new money into something new till I get this deposit back. I'm fighting between them, my bank, because I'm telling my bank I was supposed to get my money back 60 days ago based on this email that I forwarded to my bank. Like, hey, look at this email. This guy's saying I should have got my money back. No one at the branch is telling me about these claims yet. They could see them in the computer, and it literally took 45 days, almost 45 days for me to get that money back that I should have gotten 2 to 5 business days.
Okay. So basically, what you're saying is you're not running anymore.
Not at this current moment in time. I'm looking, I was talking I've been in conversation with different people that are trying to get in the space of them buying my authority or leasing onto my authority. My authority is still active right now,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm what it is. I don't want to just sit there and throw money at the problem. I wanted to kind of come in it a better way. I'm realizing that rental route is not really, it's feasible, but you literally got to have everything going for you. You got to have everything going for you.
I don't think the rental route, you know, nowadays since the pandemic and everything that occurred during the pandemic, from just the shortage of trucks, chip shortage, production shortage, um, the way people were operating the trucks, not bringing the trucks back for PMs, dogging the trucks out, which in turn caused the rental truck companies to shift you know their way
Model.
of renting trucks to uh, you know people, um, getting strict. You know what I'm saying? Um, and even them buckling down on how many miles you can go. All of that now has kind of made it difficult to rent a truck to run that middle mile.
Yeah.
I think if you're gonna rent a truck, if you are going to rent a truck, you would it would probably be wise to run more localized, you know, routes. Uh, it's like it's set up to for them. They don't want you to run over the road. So that's unfortunate that happened to you. So you said you just you're just sitting it out. Are you Do you plan on getting back into the space? Or are you just surveying the market right now, or what's going on?
Well, tell you the truth right now, that's what it is. I I always attribute it as everything is my fault. Like I feel like any as a man, any of your failures, you definitely played a role in. So I'm just accepting responsibility, and now I'm looking to pivot. I still like the space because I was doing good. So I'm thinking about getting back into it, but I'm trying to I'm trying to come into space another way, maybe with a buy a truck, and come in that way, and
Let, let me ask you a
lower.
question.
Go
I don't
ahead.
I don't want to pry into your business, but you said you
Go
got a
ahead.
settle. You said you got a settlement. I don't want to ask you what your settlement was, but
Mm-hmm.
if you got a settlement, why didn't you initially just buy a truck with the settlement money?
Cause tell you the truth, I didn't want to start something and not know if I wanted to do it. You could sit there and watch all the videos you want until you're behind the. I never drove a box truck in my life, so I didn't want to go buy a truck and I'm not. I wouldn't know this part from this part. I didn't want to make a large commitment like that um, with my money. Um, I I don't want to say I didn't think about it like that, but I didn't want to make a large commitment, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay in the space. I didn't know if the space was for me.
So you wanted to fill this. You wanted to fill it out
Feel it
before
out,
you. Okay. All right.
because there are a lot of
Okay.
things people don't tell you when you get in the space.
Yeah. Well, there's a
Not
lot
say
of.
people don't even tell you, but you learn as it goes on.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Well, I'm sorry that happened to you. Um, I guess it was a learning lesson. I know I asked you, but it sounds like you're not sure if you're coming back into the space or not. So I'm not gonna harp on it.
No, tell you the truth, I want to be back in the space, just maybe in a different way or different capacity. I tell you the truth, I like driving. When you get in, I thought like, hey, I like driving. I'll do great as a box truck driver. But just dealing with everything that it has to go into. I'm
Mhm.
maybe going pivot, going another space. I'm looking at maybe my CDL, maybe come in, another way. Just I'm just not gonna go the rental route right now. Not going
Okay.
that rental right. I'm in talks again in a truck. I'm making certain business moves to pivot. I'm actually we actually doing moving. I'm doing moving. So
You transition into the moving.
yeah, we already doing that.
So how are you doing it? You renting a truck to do it, or are you just doing labor only?
Now what it is, my neighbor has a truck and I just sourced the moves.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you want to answer any questions? Because that's pretty
Yeah.
much. I mean, you know what? Let me ask
I
you.
f- Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening. What would you have to say?
No, no, I said what it is I'm not here to bash the industry. The industry is great if you know what you're doing. If you operate correctly, you will do great. I'm not here to sit there and say, "Yo, don't hop into business." But I will say this: you got to be
Hit that
smart.
like button.
You got to have a great plan. You got to have a nice cushion. If you think your cushion's nice, you need a bigger one. If your cushion got to be almost enough for you to say, I don't need that much money. Like that's the type of cushion you need. All of that, I got 10 grand. I'm thinking about 20. Man, I don't think any of you guys, when you're in those, maintenance off, because like I said, I seen what Enterprise paid on an oil change and, and certain things. I saw those. I saw those bills. They didn't go to me, but I saw what was coming out. And there's a lot of different things that you learn is getting into this business that no one says nothing about. People say go get your authority. No one tells you, no one's gonna want to run with you when your authority went active yesterday or 2 weeks ago. You're gonna be stuck getting. There's certain brokers that you can't even onboard till your authority is a certain. People say C.H. Robinson, C.H. Robinson wants 60 days at least. You got enough for truck note and insurance costs for those 2 months just to be dead before you make a profit? or you want to run TQL. You ready to not be home? So many. I feel like there's so many variables that if you want to start, you better know where you're going, what lane, how you're gonna come in, contingency plans on it. It's just certain stuff that I should have did that I didn't do, and I want to help anybody that's looking to get into it. I want to be honest with you guys. I want to help anybody. I support Mark the Mentor. You know, I just want to be a help. If somebody could dodge something, if somebody could dodge anything that tripped me up and just coast over it, that's really what I want. That's really what I want.
All right, let's
You
open
know.
up the floor then for any questions. If anybody got any questions for Young World, now is the time. Um, yeah, so if anybody got any questions for Young World, now is the time. So go ahead and put those questions in the chat, and then I will put them on the screen,
Yeah,
and then
I'm
he'll
in the
answer
interview,
them.
so I can't see the chat. So
Yeah. Make sure y'all hit that like button too. We got 90 people in here. We got 76 likes. I would appreciate you guys if you guys hit the like button if you came in late. Do me a favor, hit that like button for me. I greatly appreciate that. All right, so this is the Q&A session time, guys. Go ahead and ask your questions. For Young World, he started early this year. He started off rough, like most people do, figured it out, and then ran into an issue with the rental truck, where the maintenance became more than it became a liability. I say it started to cost enterprise more than what they were making. In their words, he became a liability, and ultimately they parted ways with him, and that's where his story ends for now. So if you got any questions, I will pull them up in the order. All right, were you running a paper log or ELD?
yeah, I was running ELD, but a lot of people don't realize there's little tools and stuff that you could use. Um, like for example, if you look up, uh, I was running ELD. If that answers the question, I was running ELD. But there's a lot of things that you could do, certain ways that you could run that are legal. They're not illegal. But there's certain ways that you could run, and like perfect example, there's the things people don't know is that if you're an owner operator, wherever your truck is parked for the night, that's kind of like your terminal. So you can run home with a load or without a load on what's the thing called personal conveyance. Like people don't know that. So perfect example, I could run up to Chicago right now, grab a load, and if I'm well enough or I could drive enough or whatever, not say I could completely come make a 180, but I could get some rest and run back to Georgia under PC time. A lot of people don't know that. So people will literally sit in another state with a load, know they're going home know they're going home and don't use PC time to go home. And that was told to me by a DOT officer at an inspection. So
All right. What was the cost to rent a truck for the first month? What is Well, you were paying. I guess he's answering this to you. You were paying 500.
560 560 a week after tax, 18 cents a mile. Um and the initial deposit was 2,500 a month, and that's when you get the flex account with Enterprise. If you they'll allow you to get that flex account with them. If not, they're gonna hit you with that $800 $900 number. But you have to say it. If you don't say it, then it's like a key. It's like a trigger word. If you don't say it, you won't get it.
So you were paying roughly 22.40 a month for the truck, and then 18 cents a mile. And how many miles were you averaging a week?
2,500. I was doing at least
2,500 a month.
500 a day. 500 a day.
Okay.
At least 2,500. I say that's a good average. I've gone over. I've gone under. I've gone under that.
Did you get quotes from other rental companies or went straight with Enterprise?
Yeah, I got a rental. I got a quote from Penske. Like I said, $7,000 cashier's check, and that was like I said that was in Georgia. $7,000 cashier's check, 1,000, 1,200 a week, or I think 1,000 a week, and 28 cent a mile or something like that. 28 cent a mile. That's Penske. Ryder couldn't. Ryder never responded. I saw stuff online. I clicked links, but I never spoke to nobody. And the Ryder facility next to me was talking about this. We only do like short term. Like it was something weird. I think it's like a private rider or something. And Budget was trying to find me a truck, and they told me it's at least a 6 month wait on the truck.
How much fuel did this tank? How much fuel did your tank hold in the rental, and how many mpg was the? How many mpg were you getting?
I had two internationals and a Hino. I had a 2019 Hino. I think it's a 268 or something like that, or 826 or something like
Two
that.
six eight. Two
That
six
one
eight.
that one had actually a 70-gallon tank. And I'm not gonna lie, because I used to play the right lane. I was never one of those. All the rental trucks are governed, so you won't be speeding anywhere. The Hino was governed at like 73. The international was like 70 miles an hour. So, but mile per gallon, I was probably getting like 5 to 6, sometimes 7 miles a gallon.
When you got those level 3 inspections, that's actually why they pulled you in again. What did they say after they passed you with a level 3? Did they give you
They
your
gave me a
sticker?
stick. They give you a sticker. What it is the first two times I didn't get a sticker. The first level 3 was in Tennessee. Second level 3 was in, I think it was Illinois. And the other level 3 was in Virginia. And they gave me a sticker at the level 3 in Virginia. And it's probably on the Enterprise truck now, so somebody's probably getting passed through. I don't think they would know to peel that off. So
How are you active without a truck? Isn't insurance required by day 21?
I paid August's insurance.
Did you report to the FMCSA that you're not running? Did you put your
No,
so you haven't put your authority on hold temporarily?
no, no.
You might want to contact them.
All right.
I got a question for both of you. In this market economy, would you recommend financing a truck right now?
That dep that depends on. I mean, you want to answer, or
I mean, it's your
you're more of a
testimonial. I
business.
mean, I don't like those questions. I don't answer them. You know why I don't
Yeah,
answer these types of questions is because you know, and this is I'm just being honest. Is because I don't want a person to take the answer and go do it, and if they don't see success from it, then they get mad at me. You know what I'm saying?
I
So,
got you.
you know what I'm saying? So, how I would go about entering into this space in this economy would probably be different. But then again, if I were to enter, I would probably operate a lot different. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So, how I would operate, let me tell you how I would do it. If I were getting into this space right now, me personally, if I were getting into this space and let's say I'm on the new, knowing what I know, but never done it before. So knowing what I know, but never done it before, I would, if I had decent credit and I had some bread, I would buy a truck. I would buy a
yeah.
truck.
I was just about to
Um,
say the same thing.
that's me. You know what I'm saying? That's me personally. In this market, now, if I never did it before and I know what I knew back in 2010, I would rent a truck. So
Yeah,
everything that I did when I started back when I started, I would do it that way. But if I had to start now, knowing what I know but never done it, I would buy a truck because the rental space is not the same as what it used to be. Like you could rent a truck and one job, your first job Monday morning would cover the truck for the entire week.
yeah,
That's how cheap rentals were. It was no down payment. They would give you free miles.
yeah,
Everything was lilies and roses. They would even drop the truck off to you. Once you became a regular, hey, they would I wouldn't even have to go there. We need an extra truck. Hey Julie, if it was Enterprise, I would call Julie. My rep at Penske is Brian Peisker. Brian, we need a truck. Julie, we need a truck. You know, Enterprise would bring the truck to us. It would bring it straight to the yard. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different ball game now. So if I was coming to the space now, I'd buy a truck. It would be more cost efficient to buy a truck because there's just a lot of rules that the rental truck companies have now that would kind of limit you to really fully operate in the way you should or the way you would probably want to operate. So I don't want any limitations. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
don't want to have to worry about mileage caps and if the truck breaks down, depending on whether it's my fault or it's not my fault. And I understand. See, here's the thing with me. I understand business. So if let's say if I was in his situation, I was renting a truck, and let's say the truck broke down, it was just a typical mechanical malfunction, but it was one of those mechanical malfunctions that cost a lot. It would just be unlucky for me. I know it happens, and I would understand. Yo, okay, well, you just
Yeah.
not a lucky person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We know it's not your fault, but maybe it is. Maybe you
Yeah.
just driving the truck harder, but unfortunately, you're costing us more money than what we're making from you, so we can't do business with you. I would
Yeah.
understand that. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I wouldn't want to go through that coming into this space right now. You know what I'm saying? So I would go with what's more cost efficient, and I would buy a truck. Now, if I didn't have the proper money, the proper credit, then I probably would have to do what I would have to do. And if that was going the rental route, I would aggressively work that rental, and I would work really really hard as much as I could, um, so that the business would be able to buy a truck for itself. So I would
Mm-hmm.
try to get out of that rental in 3 to 6 months, right? Whether I go get a truck cash or if my credit still, let's say, wasn't up to par, I would have just an enormous amount of money to put down that I'm paying for a large portion of the truck up front that they would finance me and then aggressively pay that truck off uh, uh, in a short period of time. Obviously, with no prepayment penalties, I wouldn't I wouldn't adhere or accept a subprime loan. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be
Yeah.
my game plan if I was coming in both ways.
Yeah. Yeah, and just
Um,
and just and just adding to what Mark said, the name of the game is cost. Everybody's talking about rates. Everybody's screaming rates, and people taking cheap freight. You cannot be mad at a man's cost. Those guys you see with those beat up box trucks, and and maybe maybe it doesn't have to be beat up, but that guy that
no,
owns this
it
box
it
truck,
could be beat
and
up because
yeah,
I always promote older
yeah,
trucks. I
yeah,
always talk about how I've always bought older trucks.
mhm,
I still got my first three trucks that I ever bought,
mhm,
and nothing's wrong with them.
mhm,
You see what I'm saying? So older trucks are fine as long as
yeah.
you take care of the truck will take care of you.
No, no, no.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the yeah. Sorry, sorry. I didn't mean
A
to
lot
cut
of
you off.
a lot of people don't take care of their trucks. Don't let
Mhm,
people fool you. It's a lot of people out here running that are not taking care of their trucks for
mhm.
various reasons. One, they don't want to be down. They don't want to down the truck. They're getting all the signs that I'm not feeling good. The truck is telling you I'm not feeling
Dash
good.
looking,
Take
Dash
me to
looking
the
like a Christmas tree.
take me to the doctor. But they keep running because they're not appropriating their funds properly. They don't have cash flow. They may not have the money to get it fixed. They know it's coming, so now they keeping their finger crossed. So now they running to put some money to the side, or they just don't want to take it to the shop because now they know they don't know how long they're gonna be down for. But whatever the reason is, there's a lot of people that are operating that are not taking care of their truck, and then this is why they run into these issues. The signs are there. Chuck always going to let you know. Most of the time, it's going to let you know, and a lot of times people ignore the signs.
Yeah,
If you take care of Chuck going to take care of you. So,
yeah,
well, you going to say something?
yeah. I was just gonna say though, like I said, most people are focused on the wrong thing. Those guys you see, Kirk says it, Mark says it all the time. Those guys have a way different cost per mile than you. These guys' authority is older. They're getting better loads. Their truck is they own their truck. Their insurance, they might have a CDL. A lot of people don't even know a CDL lowers your box truck insurance. You could run box truck if you get your CDL license and you tell them that when you're getting insurance, it goes down. It actually goes down. People do not know that. If you got your insurance before you got your CDL and you're still under them terms, call up your adjuster and say, I just got my CDL and switch your license to that, and that lowers your insurance. And it's stuff like that people don't say, tell people. But get in order to survive this market or any market in general, get your costs down low. The guys with the lower costs are going to be the ones to survive. Mo- More than likely. More than likely.
Mark, I'm trying to link up with you. You got a mentorship class? Nope. Unfortunately, I do not do mentorships. My name is Martin Mentor, but don't do mentorships. Never have. I'm 98% sure that I never will. The most you're gonna get from me if you don't catch me on a live stream is maybe a coaching call. Other than that, unfortunately, I don't do mentorships. Don't do them. Sorry. Um. Let me see. I'm looking for questions. Are you going to test the waters with Final Mile?
Yeah. I, that's what I'm trying to figure out because I have a love hate relationship with OTR. And I'm really looking at like what I'm doing right now is I'm in contact with somebody that has a truck and they're too old to drive it and move it. So we're actually in conversations with, what we should do and where I can come in, but I'm also not trying to go back OTR with another I'm not trying to go OTR. So final mile is something I'm looking at. I've been contacted by a couple logistics companies um, that I applied to a long time ago. So I'm just trying to make sure that the next move is the best fit, you know. I'm just not trying to get back out there, run and chase the DAT load board again. If I want maybe want to get with a broker and say I can do this, because that's the thing. I built relationships with more than just brokers, but people at facilities, and I'm not completely turned off or out of the space. I'm currently not in a truck running around collecting loads. Am I doing business in the space? Yes.
What did your level 3 inspection consist of?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. It's the one where they logbooks, logbooks. They check like your steering wheel sturdiness inside the cab, air brakes, lights, uh, air brakes, lights. Like basically a whole truck, and literally like I'd say like a pre-trip, but literally with an officer. He gets under there, he tells you to turn your wheel. It's when they make you go in the big hangar. I went in two big hangars and one I did on like a raised level ground in Virginia. And the guy went under there. He checked everything. He checked everything but the freight. Tire pressure. Like I said, the biggest thing: logbooks, tire pressure, um, steering wheel, triangles, fire extinguisher. Um, like I said, fire extinguisher. Um, they take your BOLs wherever you go and they're coming from. They're taking those. Um, take your license. Check every light in your car. The headlights, high beams, daytime running lights, mud flaps. Everything but a urine test. I'll tell you that much. Everything but a urine test. It's the
You
only
said
thing
that
they
was a
didn't do.
you said that was a level 3?
Yeah, is that I confused the level 3 or level 1, but that's the one where they go. They did an intensive inspection every time. I never got the. Let me see this. Let me check your license and go.
So
No.
you confused between the difference. different inspections.
Give me 1 second. 1 second. I got a picture of her right here. Well, I don't want to take up too much time, but it was the like I said, the gas tank. I mean, you go through the weigh station. They
So
tell you to
it
pull around
it
back.
sound like you had a level one.
Level one.
That's what
Yeah.
basically what you telling me. It sounds like a level one.
Yeah. Sorry, level one. But I have what he's talking about
Based off what you're saying right now.
Yeah, but what Asthma
He's
Rolling just put is the Enterprise truck got a big yellow sticker with a 3 on it. That's what and then the sticker is good for a certain amount of months. I think it's good for 3 months from that. You look it up online. Like I got one of those. Yeah, it's check of the truck. That's what I'm saying. I got it right.
East Colorado PC. I'm reading these questions.
Yes, yes. You see what weird about is putting? Yes, it's level 3, full check of the truck. Everything, literally, they checked everything but the freight. You get a sticker. He's right. You get a nice big. I got a nice big yellow sticker, just like you said.
I'm not gonna ask him about Big Zo. I see your question, but I'm not gonna ask him about that.
What?
No, 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 no. I'm not going there.
I can't see the questions because I'm just in this room. I think so. I don't.
No, no,
If
no,
you
no.
want
I'm
to
just
ask me any,
I'm skipping over the questions because I'm trying to scroll down to what the comments is saying about the level. Because some people saying it was a level one, some people saying it was level three. That's why I was
yeah. Look, he
asking you
got a
because I
level
was
3.
no, because that's why I was reading and I was reading Angel's comment when I was talking about the level one, and then hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to skip over this. I
I
know. I
got
was just
this.
asking because some people were saying level one, level three. I was asking him, did he
Yeah.
know what he got? Good info about to call my agent. Hold on.
They don't check your steering wheel. They open your hood and they ask you to turn your steering wheel like this, and they hold on to something. They're holding on to something while you're turning your wheel like this.
Trust me, I've been doing ATL for 8 years. What are y'all going back and forth in the chat, man? Because I'm trying to get to the questions, man. Y'all going back and forth about. Oh, hold on,
Man, just
PC. Hold on, I'm just trying to get to the questions. Trust me, I've been doing shit. Shit, I've been making. Local sound like the move. Spokane.
Jason. Oh, okay.
Go to my website. I'll put the link up in a sec.
Man,
All right, how did you get multiple level three inspections? You should got a sticker in your window with a big yellow three. He said he got it.
they
All right, so, hold on, I'm behind. That's what I'm trying to catch up, bro.
okay.
Give me a second, bro.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all killing me with the arguing over a level 3 or
Yeah,
level 1.
see, yeah.
It's a
So I'm
certain
not for.
inspect.
I'm not for
It's an
because some people
inspection.
saying level one, some people saying level three.
Yep.
I'm not gonna go on.
Google's
Okay.
your friend. I don't remember immediately right now at this time, and I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to only be on my phone, you know. So I'm not.
Ooh, oops, sorry. What did you pay for insurance? I'm skipping over all the level 1, level 3 argument. All right, what did you pay for insurance and who would you go with? They plus it came in late, but he went with
But
Progressive, 2,500 a month, right?
yeah, and that was due to Amazon's Amazon, and I never dropped my insurance except like a month ago. Like I dropped it from the 2 million aggregate because, and they dropped it like $200 to like 23, but that was only for like my last or second to last month. Pro- Progressive was the insurance. Progressive. But that
All
was
right.
before I knew about going to other insurance brokers, and Mark has a video on that, so check that out.
Somebody's telling you to get a Class A and buy a tractor for power
If you
only.
guys if you guys want me to be perfectly honest, I'm not. I did OTR. I don't really want to go back on the road. I want to be in there in some capacity, but I would like a nice local contract. If you do OTR and you do local, depending on what kind of life you live, I'd take less money to be home. And being honest, the way moving is, I'm looking into doing that, but that's a ball game that you gotta be almost tighter than OTR with that, as far as
What
your due diligence with everything.
what you mean?
I mean, cause all right, on OTR it's you, the freight, pallet jack, maybe a dock or two, maybe a lift gate or whatever. We did a move the other day, and my man was telling me, about keeping TVs and beds because people wasn't paying, and we haven't been exactly finding.
It's a difference when you doing hood moves and you
Yeah,
doing
no, of
real
course, of
moves. If
course.
if you if you marketing yourself to a specific demographic, then that's what you're gonna deal with.
No, of course, of course.
So
I
so you
mean,
know,
it hasn't
I've
been
only
long,
had that
so
happen one time.
it has. No, I mean, like I said, he's been doing a lot longer than me. So we just geared up, and he got his thing, and I was just like, all right, let me just make the thumbtack, and I'll book something. We split or whatever.
But that conversation you said, that's not even a conversation I would even have with people because I don't have those problems. You see
No.
that for him to have that conversation with you, that means it's reoccurring. You know, since
Mm-hmm.
2010, I've only had one person not pay me. So if when I explain about the moving business to people, if I want to just really talk bad about it, I'm just going to say, man, it's tough, it's challenging. The claims, the shit
Yeah,
is
that
heavy,
that's
stuff
kind of
like
what I
that.
was.
I've
Yeah,
never talked about not getting paid because that's not something that is a reoccurrence. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just curious to know what that person is, the demographic that he's targeting for that to even be keeping shit. No, that's considered holding people's items hostage. That's illegal. When you're a
no,
licensed company, you can't hold nobody's stuff hostage.
I never said that the gentleman that I was doing business with is doing that. I'm saying that he was telling me about he's been doing it a while and worked with different companies,
Mm-hmm.
big companies and his own company. He's never
Mm-hmm.
had to do that in his own company, but he's worked under somebody else because he moves other things and you know has seen
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah,
And when I say other things, I mean other than home moves, like commercial moves, whole office moves, stuff like that.
yeah. Uh, so you say you just gonna get into the moving business?
Not really. I'm just playing with it right now. To tell you the truth, it's just I've always been the type of person that's like I'm gonna get a dollar. I got a cleaning company. I
Mm-hmm.
just recently got a job. Like I just tell you the truth, I'm just trying to figure out where I'm going next.
All right. All right. So, how do you perceive the current industry to be at this current moment? Do you think it's hope for owner operators of future owner operators with trucking space as you know it right now?
You want me to answer? I wanna
It's your it's your testimony.
Tell you the truth, yeah. If you know what you're doing, I think people need to stop doing is look at the business and then follow somebody else's model and just find out what model works best for you. If you got kids, you shouldn't really be looking at OTR. That might be difficult mentally and emotionally. And you know, like I think everybody needs to take advantage of whatever situation that they can do. Or do you guys even really want to drive? Like I don't mean like that. Start off. Mark has this video where he says start off under somebody. Go on the road first. Go with somebody for a day or two, or try to go under someone else and see if you really want to even do this before you try to, is there hope? Yeah, there's definitely hope if you're gonna get money depending on what you're willing to do. That's what I'll say. So find out what you're willing to do and work that into the space if that makes sense. Right.
I
Find
think
like
it's
I said, just find out what situation best fits you. And all right, don't look at somebody like me or another content creator and sit there and say, you know, oh well, this guy's doing local. That might not be possible for you where you're at. Like I don't know.
I,
Do
I think
do do
it's
as much research as you can.
I think it's hope, but it's two things that I see that are holding a lot of people back. It's two things that I see that are ultimately holding a lot of people back. One is the first thing is um, people's lack of business knowledge, and I understand not everybody is gonna have an advanced amount of business knowledge that just come into the space, but I think a lot of people, uh, you know, don't do enough research and don't the little research that they do, they don't take it serious enough. I'm starting to see that a lot of people just lack the basic common knowledge of just business in general. Um, I think that's an issue. I think that's an issue. I think that's an issue, and I think that's ultimately the reason why a lot of people fail. The second thing that I see is work ethic. Like I think people have like I see a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I asked them like, why do you want to do this? Because I want financial freedom. I want to be able to build something and have financial freedom, and I want to spend more time with family." When people tell me that, failure just the first thing that pops up in my head. Failure, because for people to think that starting a business is going to allot them more free time
Yeah.
means they did no research whatsoever. That means they've been listening to people online.
Mm-hmm.
Not the right people online. You know what I'm saying? Because if you listen to me and I tell you, you listen to my story over and over and over and over and over again, I talk about how I work like a dog. I've had
Yeah.
employees come on and tell you how I work like a dog. Like this is what it takes. I talk about the sacrifice. So I don't understand why people think that success comes without hard work.
Yeah.
You're gonna work more than what you would be working on a job. On a job, you get to punch out and go home, whether your work is complete or not. Once quitting time, you can go home. When you run a business, when you're on a business, especially when you're starting a business, you're constantly
Yeah.
working. Your brain is
Yeah.
constantly working. You're constantly working. You have to create the business and you have to build the business. Then you have to maintain the business. Then you have to grow the business. Then you have to scale the business. And then after that, then you can possibly pull away once the business is able to sustain itself on its own. You can hire people and things like that. But that's after you do everything that I just mentioned. I think a lot of people that come into this space thinking it's just easy and they're just gonna have just make a lot of money and things are just gonna be easy, and then they come in and they get that rude awakening. They start seeing all those bills pile up. Nobody told me about this part of the game. You know what I'm saying? These bills steady hitting them, that diesel steady hitting them. They renting the truck that steady hitting them. They entered in wrong. They can't figure out why it's costing them so much money to operate and why they not making enough. They calling the spot market trash. And all that's due to lack of research.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I've seen people that have come into this space within the last year, year and a half be successful, and I've seen a lot of people come in and fail.
Mm-hmm.
The people that I see that come in that are successful, they work like a dog.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to come into something and and you want to make a lot of money and you don't want to do a lot of work, then blue collar ain't gonna be it. You need to go build code or something and build something that you can sell for $100 million. You know what I'm saying? If you want to get into something that's blue collar like trucking, you're gonna work. You're
You're
gonna
gonna
work.
work. You're
You're
gonna
gonna
work.
work. If you don't want to work, if you want to work and you want to have free time, then go get a job. Go get a CDL
Mm-hmm.
and work 6 months over the road, and then after that first 6 months, go find you a local job. Go work with Cisco or something like that. Go work JB Hunt and Schneider Intermodal. Those are local jobs. You'll be home every day, depending on what
Mm-hmm.
markets you're in. If it's enough intermodal freight,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying. But if you plan on starting a box truck business, and I don't care what lane you get into, I don't care if it's the middle mile, final mile, curbside final mile,
Yeah.
big and bulky final mile,
Yeah.
moving. If you want to be successful, you're gonna work like a dog. There's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no maybes, there's no buts. If you want to see success, you're gonna work. And ultimately, the people that are failing, they're not putting in the time, they're not working, and they're not doing enough research to to increase their business acumen, right? To make them a more intelligent business owner operator. You're gonna have to do more than come watch me or
Yeah.
anybody else you watch. You're gonna have to apply some of the stuff that I'm telling you and go do some research on your own. Because I can only cover so much. I can only cover so much, and it's only 7 days a week, and I'm not gonna be on here 7 days, 24 hours a day. So some of the you have to do some of the work on your own. And
Um,
I just don't see enough people doing it.
mm.
Somebody said Cisco is tough work. It is tough work, but hey, like work is tough. The freedom, the financial freedom, and being able to move and shake how you want, that's years down the line. It's easy for me to say now because I started years ago and I'm at that point. But you got to start from somewhere. That's the point. You got to start. If you don't start, ain't nothing do. Time just ticking. While you wasting time, you could be working.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So that's it, man. You want that financial freedom, and you want to be able to move and shake how you want to move and shake, man. You got to work. Work
Yeah.
hard. Give yourself a 10-year plan. Work hard for 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's why I
Yeah.
think that's the long-winded answer on what I think about the current industry at the current moment in the market. I think if a person came in the right way and they worked extremely hard, I think they would succeed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
let me see. Uh, so they said Cisco is tough work. See, to me, to me, I've done everything that's tough.
I tell
So,
I tell you this. Being homeless is tough. Pick your tough. Pick the tough that everything you do will cost you a certain amount of energy and effort. So just figure out
tough,
where you
tough,
willing to spend it.
tough is good, but I don't think people want to work. I'm gonna tell y'all a funny story. I was at the grocery store today. I was walking to my car, and a lady was getting in the car next to me. She had a son. He was in high school. Probably was like 16 or 17. She said, "That's a nice car. That's my son's dream car." You know what my response to her and him were? All right, well, you know what, young man? I said, It ain't gotta be your dream card. This could be your reality card. Just work really hard. I said it ain't gotta be a dream card. It could be your reality card. Just work really hard. If I could show y'all the look they gave me when I said that, they looked at me like I was crazy. They looked at me
But it's
like I was
very
crazy
feasible.
because I said it wasn't the part where I said it ain't gotta be your dream card. It could be your reality card. All you gotta do is work hard, and you can get it. It was when I said all you got to do is work hard. She said, "Oh well,
Right.
he done he." This is what she told me. Oh well, he done looked it up. He know what? What is that? Like, yo, it's like when
Nah.
you tell somebody about hard work nowadays. It's like the look they gave me when I said I gave them I took them out of the mind frame of it don't have to be a dream. This could be I said it ain't gotta be a dream car. It could be a reality car. All you gotta do is work hard. Man, the look they
Nobody wanna
gave me when I said work hard.
nobody wanna hear that.
Well, and
They
see
don't
that,
wanna hear that.
and that's the problem,
Of course.
and that answers the question on why a lot of people aren't successful because they don't want to work hard and they don't want to sacrifice. All right, so it is what it is. There you have it. So if you want to be a business person, everything. Listen, and I'm keeping it funky. I'm being honest with you. I know it's your testimonial, but I feel like preaching right now. If you don't want to, if after God, and I'm keeping it 1,000 with you, after God comes business, family, and all that shit comes later. I swear to God, if I'm lying, I'm dying. Any successful businessman will tell you. It's plenty of successful businessmen that lose family, their kids never see them, their wife never see them. They have a comfortable life, but most successful business people are not home because they're too busy being successful. It's God, then it's business, then it's everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So when I hear people say, "Oh, they gotta get home to their family and all this, that, and the third," I say, "Oh, well, you're not gonna make it." The
I hear
business comes before everything, and there's gonna be some people out there that are gonna disagree with me.
you. No.
But I'm telling you what I know. It's God first, then it's the business. If you don't want to put the business after God, then you should go get a job. Then you can spend as much time doing whatever it is you want to do. You can spend time. You could go to the park and push your kids on the swings. You can have dinner dates. You can do all that stuff that you want to do. But when you're running a business and you're an entrepreneur, especially a small business, especially those initial starting years, it's going to acquire a lot of time. A lot of time. All right. So, all right. I preach, man. You got it.
No. I was just gonna say if anybody else got any more questions. I mean, Margaret, I already no one's gonna help you get to where you feel you need to be, but you. And that's the only person stopping you from getting to where you're trying to get to. 'Cause once you understand that, you know, I can't really, you know, because I mean, I'm just gonna say this: like, I'm not rich, but I'm okay. And I tried the box truck thing, and it didn't. It wasn't one of those like it was fight or flight, you know. So I just want people to keep that in mind. You know, I got other businesses going on also, you know. Um, so if anybody else got any other questions, you know, I got gonna go upstairs and eat dinner, and I'm having a fabulous day. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm having a fabulous day.
All right. So, any question? Any more questions? If not, then we're gonna
And if
let him
anybody want to
go.
ask me anything, if anybody catch this live afterward, you could just go on my Instagram at Ike Turnup IKE underscore TURN underscore up. And you can ask me whatever, and I'll keep it funky with you. I'll keep it all the way funky with you. So in the thumbnail, just put that as my at name on Instagram, and I'll answer any question if you catch this live after. If you got a question now, you can ask it though.
I'm gonna give a few more
But that,
minutes for questions. If not, then we're gonna go ahead and
yeah,
get out of here.
yeah, like I said. Um, You decide where you're gonna be at. I didn't give up on the space. I operated incorrectly, and I took a loss. If you're a boss, then you just understands at a certain point that that's gonna happen. And what you do is you look. I made terrible mistakes. I could sit there and admit it.
Yeah,
But
you didn't talk about other mistakes that you made.
yeah, I mean, I could. I
Just
man, look, I'll give you all
name a
the.
few mistakes you made before you get out of here.
Look, man, all I tell these people, if you're in the space right now, make sure you're reading those Raycons, because when you're signing your company to complete a task, and if you can't complete that task, that makes you're a representation of your company. How do you want a broker to trust you with a higher paying load if you mess this one up? I accepted a load that literally said, "Can I take it for convicted felon?" And I literally called up and said, "Yeah, I'll take the load." Got all the way to the base. There's a Navy base in, what's it called? Not Pompano, Pensacola. All the way
Florida.
away from nothing, and I literally got to the gate and they said, "You can't come in." Literally got to the gate and said, "You can't come in." What I had to do at that moment? You think on your feet. I was like, where can I find somebody that can drive a box truck? Meanwhile, this is 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I done drove for like 5 hours, and they telling me I can't deliver this freight. They tell me literally like, "Oh well, you got to call a broker because that's between you and them." It wasn't no they meet us out here with a forklift or doing anything. The Navy's not doing that, you know. So when it came to that, I'm like, man, like I literally said, who can drive a box truck? And then I thought, okay, U-Haul can drive a box truck. Anybody that works at U-Haul can drive one, or if they work there, they should. Googled U-Haul, drove down there. U-Haul's closed, doesn't open till 10 or something like that. So I literally seen a Walmart across the street, seen a power only, banged on his window like, "Yo, could you drop off this load?" He didn't answer. Then I seen somebody in a hot shot pickup truck. I wish I had the brother's social media or whatever, but he's an older trucker. He literally said, I literally told him, I said, "Hey, I got this box of freight. I mean, this truck of freight. I need you to deliver this freight. Um, I need you to deliver this freight. And you don't know me from a hole in the wall, and I'm a convicted felon, and that's why we can't go in the Navy base." And he literally took $200 on the cash app, dropped the freight, got the BOL signed, and came back out the Navy base and brought my truck. No scratches, no nothing. And I got that done within like 30 minutes, 30 or 40 minutes. I even put a post in like a Facebook group chat. I was just trying to find somebody to deliver this freight, you know? Um, it's a lot of don't like the mistakes go on and on. Um, and not calculating how much gas it take to get somewhere, not calculating how much a factoring is taken away, not watching when payments are processing on the card, and all kind of things, man, happened while I was out there. But I learned a lot. I learned business from that business. And I also have businesses that didn't stop while I was out doing that. That's something that, you know, multiple streams of income is what you got to do. So like like I said, I got a cleaning company that cleans Airbnbs. If you go to my Instagram page, you're gonna see the multiple things. I even got my own podcast. I just haven't been uploading. I'm literally in a nice transitional period in my life, but it's a lot. It's a lot of mistakes, man. If you think all I'm gonna all I'm gonna tell you is to get from where this screen is, where I'm at, to get to where Mark is gonna be it's a lot of work. So if you don't want to do it, sign up, go get a
It's a
job,
lot of
work for
years.
somebody else.
A
You
lot of
know, and it's
years.
not gonna happen overnight. When I was driving, I spent, I don't know how much my phone said screen time. I was doing 8 hours a day screen time on the load board. I wasn't uploading like that. I wasn't posting no content like that. You know, uh, shout out Natasha Bass. But
She got a question for you. What
go ahead.
what your driving record look like? Did you expect to pay more or less a month for insurance? Shout out to Natasha for that super chat. Appreciate that.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna answer this. I'm gonna answer this. Real quick. Like I said, my $2,500. I have 0 points. I have zero things on my driving record, but know that your insurance comes from other things such as your credit. They don't tell you that, but they look at your credit when they give you the insurance. People don't know that. That's why you might not even get approved by certain companies to do commercial insurance. So your credit plays a role. Also, there's different factors just than your driver record. I'll tell you that much. They look at how old your, maybe not your business is, but it's like if you can pull up certain information about people without a background check, if that makes sense. So certain identifiers they use, but long story short, it's 2,500 a month. But that was with Amazon's $2 million aggregate. There's a certain level of insurance you need to go OTR. Probably a certain type of insurance you need to run with certain companies. Then I also had to pay 2,500 a month because I was using a certain type of insurance for enterprise where it's like scheduled. I was like it was scheduled vehicles, so I also had to have that verbiage on the COI. Um, like it has to have like a verbiage that says you can drive these select vehicles. You know, so that was really it.
Shout out to Asma Roland for that super chat. Appreciate you. Good info, but about the felony thing, didn't you see that coming? So it make you think better about who you got driving. I think he missed it. He didn't
Yeah, I didn't
see
see
it.
it. I didn't
He didn't
see
see
it.
it when he booked the
I
load.
I would
So
look cause really quickly I didn't read it on the Raycon, and we didn't speak about it in the conversation, but it was on the Raycon. And I'm not gonna say the broker caught me off guard with that. They put on the Raycon. I should have read it. It was all the way at the bottom, like literally, like probably last item. Like I believe it was like the load, all the information, the little terms and condition, and then right a little bit before I signed.
it was a learning lesson, though. It was a learning
Yeah. Not
lesson.
only that, like I said, I called the broker. He was like, "Well, I'm gonna have to call somebody and get the freight transferred." I'm like, "I'm not losing the money on this freight. Yo, are you crazy? Like, I'm not gonna give up. That mean I'm driving like." I was always with like a drive at a loss thing. I'm not driving at a loss. I remember one time I watched a live with Kirk, and Kirk said, "You're better off not moving your truck than to operate at a loss." So I was not gonna not say I wasn't gonna give up the freight if I had to. I had to, but I was I was keen on finding somebody to deliver the freight. That was gonna happen before he could find somebody to load to unload me. That freight would have got delivered.
Hmm.
Uh, that freight would have got delivered.
All right.
So
Any closing words, man?
I'll say this: if you're thinking of jumping into the space, do as much research as you can. Mark has probably upwards maybe 100 videos. If you watch all of them and get a call from him, I guarantee you won't need nobody's $5,000 course. Don't believe everything you see on YouTube. There's people giving good information and there's people giving bad information. And it's up to you to use your common sense and a reasonable amount of judgment. And like I said, watch his videos, watch the competition videos, but make your own. Well, no, actually, forget the competitions videos, but watch their content and make your own sound judgment and look at your life and be honest. If you just got 10,000 the other day, bro, do not think you could just jump into a box truck space. I literally cut out 7,000 for myself to get started, and then I went in the money that I had that I wasn't going to use and probably went in another three, and like I'm 10 grand in and I haven't made a dollar yet. Like I got the truck now and everything, but you got to really look at your situation and come into the game at as a low cost as possible. Operating legally, operating healthy and to the best of your ability. But cost is some. If you come in with a tremendous cost, if you're operating or renting a truck at a high rate like I was, and something happens, you're cooked. You're finished. I mean, and whatever nugget people say, oh, I got a nest egg, I got a nest egg. If your nest egg is 3 grand, that's not a nest egg. If your nest egg is 5 grand, that's not a nest egg. There's things that could take you out of this business, especially if you financing or owning a truck that will clear your 5,000. And you're down. Now you're down. And 5 grand you need.
seeing you
And if
came
you
into
didn't,
space, seeing that you came into space recently for a person that was coming in, let's say a person wanted to come in right now, what do you think a person would need to have to enter this space comfortably um to succeed?
whatever lane you're gonna go into, go do it first.
No, I'm saying how much. I'm saying how much do you think they would need? Since you just came in, how much
Depending,
do you think a person would need?
I wouldn't start if I couldn't get a truck. If I couldn't buy a truck,
No, I'm saying how much
and
capital you think a person should have coming into space. Since you just entered recently, how much money do you think a person, as far as entering and working capital, how much do you think a person needs entering into the space at the current time?
this might sound crazy. 20 if you go on the rental route. 20 if you go on the rental route. If you financing a truck, not a bad loan. And if my best advice would be to try to buy a truck. No note. You paying insurance. You seeing a lot more of that money quicker when you could afford to make mistakes. That's just me being honest. That's just you're gonna you there it's more than just the capital. When you first get your authority, people don't understand that no one's gonna want to use you. No one's gonna want to use you. No one's gonna You're not gonna get those high paying loads. You're not gonna know how to work partials. You're not gonna know, you know, you, it's just certain things. Like I knew stuff just because I was in a warehouse. There was no walking up to the door for me and going to speak to a receiver if I know that this is the dock. I'm backing that thing up and I'm opening the door and I'm getting the pallet jack and grabbing it. So a guy that might, and I'm doing that at 4:30 when they about to close, because I got that type of hustle. Like, oh no, I'm not. We're not doing this tomorrow. You're not even gonna give me an opportunity to tell me I can't drop it off. The freight's on the dock. The parcel I just dropped off is now on the dock. Really, just sign this BOL and get on. And the reason I'm saying that as far as money is like something like that. A day behind can cost you money. That happened to you on the wrong Friday. Now you're stuck. You got the new authority. You just might not get a load. Like, know that can happen. You could be in Chicago and just not get the load. Oh no, authority too young. Hang up. Click. If you're talking OTR, you need a 6-month authority to go with Amazon. If you go on final mile, that's real work. Moving is not a joke. So any lane you're thinking about getting into, just make sure you jump in with somebody that's already doing it. See it for yourself. Ask everything you can, and that'll be the best way to enter the space, and with a significant amount of capital. And tell you the truth, with interest rates and everything right now, most people trying to, if you can't buy a truck, you don't have you I don't think you have a substantial amount of money. And if you're looking to finance, man, and then what you gonna do? Put that on your personal credit? If you don't have any business credit, and if you don't, it's just there's so many different things, man. I think that account for that. There's so many things that go with that question. I don't think it's just money though. I really don't think it's just money.
All right. Well, I
If you lazy,
appreciate.
stay
Go
home.
ahead.
If if
Go ahead.
if I'm telling you this right now, this is all I'm gonna say. If you're lazy, stay home. Because the things you got to do to be successful in this business, you're going to be tired. You're going to be exhausted. I slept in my truck. I slept in the back of the truck. I slept at facilities. I slept outside of the
You slept in
facility.
the back of the truck?
Yeah, bro.
But you just closed the door?
Nah, like have it a certain way, like closed from the inside, airbed in the back. If I ain't have freight, I'm sleeping in the airbed.
And you just hope that nobody come flip the latch down and lock you in there.
Nah, I would lock it the other way, so you couldn't lock it all the way down,
Huh?
and then just pull the thing under the door, and I'd
Well,
probably be like
damn.
right there.
How'd you keep cool or keep warm back there?
I wasn't. I wanted all that money. I got turned on to the money.
So sometimes you would just be freezing back there, and sometimes you would just be burning up. It's hot
Yeah,
back there, man.
yo, I'm going back home with the money.
No, I'm asking you, like, how did you keep warm or keep cool back there?
Mark, with blankets or with keeping it open. Like, bro, some nights it was just hot, some nights it was just cold. When I was in Wyoming, it was brick. I kept turning on the heat, let it heat up. Probably a couple hours later, heat more. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, bro.
Oh, that's when you were sleeping in the cab. I thought you said it was some nights you slept in the cargo area of the truck.
Yeah,
Uh,
when I didn't have freight, both. There's certain areas I'm like, all right, I'm not sleeping in the back. But then there's certain places in the middle of yonder, you know. Not to say like I know for sure nobody's coming, but you know,
you kind of risk gutsy there.
bro, I ain't gonna lie, I was out there,
You just didn't want to pet by no hotel, huh?
man. No, no, keeping it 100. No, and I had the money. I still have the money.
That's what's up, man.
I don't
But
mean it like, yeah.
that's your story, man. So I appreciate you, man. You gave us 2 hours and 45 minutes of straight honesty, man. You know, I'm sorry that
Yo, ain't
that it came to
I I
the
tell you
way it
this,
ended
don't
for
look
you,
at it
but
like I'm not sorry, bro. Tell you the
no,
truth, like, and I don't want you to look at it like that because I was in a different financial space than the next person. I already had different things going on, and I tried something out. So I'm not gonna sit there and say I had a whole bunch of money, but I ran into money from really doing nothing, just being in the right place at the right time. Even though it was painful, you know, it's like I didn't make that crazy sacrifice that maybe somebody that's working 2 jobs and like, yeah, I'm gonna save up and buy a box truck. Did. And not only that, it's like it made me learn so much more. But I feel like that experience taught me more than any business course. I feel like that. I mean, of course, maybe analytics you're gonna learn and other things you're gonna learn, but
mm,
I feel like being out there, seeing a business, how fast money can go, and which I mean, people could say they know how to run a. I feel like a college professor can't tell you nothing about running a business. I feel like maybe somebody running a business could tell you. I feel like
yeah.
you probably could tell me better than a class.
I mean,
Maybe that's.
I've learned more. You know, I got a degree in business. I've learned more. You know, operate a business than I learned. You know, in college for
Mm-hmm.
5 years. But there. Hold on. There are some key things when I was in school that I remember. There are some things that stood out that I still remember uh, to this day.
No, of
But
course.
yeah, you do learn a lot. You know, being active. On a actually doing the work. Um, but no, when I was saying, I'm sorry that happened. I'm just saying because the situation was kind of beyond. It was out of your control. You see what I'm saying? So what happened to you was not something that you can control. You had mechanical breakdowns. It just you had them back to back. So you just got dealt a bad hand, and that's unfortunate. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Two breakdowns, two breakdowns back. Something happened to the Hino too, right?
Yeah.
So you had three trucks, three breakdowns, and all of them like back to back to back. So it's unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? Because if you wouldn't have gotten dealt that bad hand, 9 times out of 10 you would still be out here running. Is what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying. You know what I'm saying? I think what happened to you has just left a sour taste in your mouth as far as the space is concerned. Temporarily, you may feel
Mm-hmm.
differently about it, and the reason why I say that is because after that happened to you, you know what I'm saying, you still had the opportunity to go try to get trucks with three other people. You could have went to Ryder, you could have went to Budget, you could have went to Penske, but I think you just had so much of a sour taste in your mouth. You was like, to hell with it. And that's unfortunate. That's why I'm saying, I'm sorry that happened to you. Because I just felt like you got dealt a bad hand. But man, I appreciate you coming on, telling your story. Hopefully there's people out there, learn something, things to do, things not to do, learn from some of, things that you've done that were good, some of the things that you did that you shouldn't have done. Hopefully people picked up on some of those things to avoid. I hope, your story kind of clears up what I've been preaching for a long time about, rental maintenance, and how it's baked into the cost of the rental, and that the rental truck company is a business. And the moment you become a liability for that rental uh, truck company, if it comes to a point where, you know, you're costing them more than the money that they're making off of you,
Hmm.
that whole, you don't have to pay for rental, you
Yeah.
don't have to pay for maintenance, rather, that's bullshit. You do have to pay for maintenance, and once the maintenance becomes exorbitant to the point where it becomes more than what they're making off of you, they're going to tell you to bring that damn truck back. So
Hmm.
technically, like I've been saying, you're paying for the maintenance. All right. So
Yeah.
hopefully people learn from that. And unfortunately, your testimony has given people clarity uh, on that. And I appreciate you for spending your time with us this Wednesday night.
Yeah. Yo, look. Good night, y'all.
All right. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate
All
everybody.
right.
I'll see y'all tomorrow night.